Guys, welcome to Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. Reality is getting so crazy, no one knows what's even real anymore. I'm sure many of you probably read this New York Post headline before clicking on the video. Well, things have gotten so bad for men, for dating, for men in movies and representation in movie, for men in marriage, for men in divorce, for men in so many different things, that you can literally make up a headline with the most ridiculous thing, and not just men fall for it, but women do too. Reality is so close to madness at this point that people are struggling to see the difference. And that tells you, number one, how bad people recognize things are going for guys when it comes to relationship and when it comes to maybe jobs and all the other things. But it also goes to show you that news sensationalism and the ridiculousness of the world is following right in suit to the point where you don't even know what's going on anymore. So you guys will get a kick out of this. It is a men's issue, believe it or not, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. So I am a fan of the Babylon Bee. If you don't know who the Babylon Bee is, I don't know if it explains who they are, but basically they're a satire website. They do politics, they do culture, they do various things, and it's kind of fun to look at. I won't read many of the headlines because they're kind of political, but the whole point is they make up crazy headlines. And I was surfing through the web the other day, and I came across this little thumbnail where it says the same thing I put in my headline. Women are struggling to find men who are tall, good-looking, rich, confident, well-endowed, ethnically compatible, and willing to date single moms with multi-ethnic children. And I said, you know what, that's really funny, because I did a story on the actual article that this was about, which is here. Women are struggling to find men who make as much money as they do. And of course, this story was written at the behest of the women. In other words, worrying about the struggles of the women and them finding men who made enough money. It wasn't about the struggle of the men that weren't making enough money. You'd think that's who the story would be on. And I talked about that back in the day, but I said, I recognize this. And so what did I do? If you go up here to the, I can do it in the browser real quick. You hit F12, you bring up this little element, you can click right up here to edit, and then I just click here and you can see the headline, and I can just right click this and edit text and say, dogs are better than cats. Cats eat you when you're dead. And once you're done with that, you just hit enter, and then you can turn off the inspector, and boom, just like that, you have a new headline. I mistyped in there. I didn't use an apostrophe. I accidentally hit a bracket. But anyway, you get the point, and it's in the correct font. It's in the correct headline size. It's very easy. And then I just take a screen print of that, and it turns out looking like that. Now, what I did in this case is I actually grabbed a couple of photos of Only Fools girls and dropped them in the bottom and covered up the original picture that was originally there. So why are we talking about this? Because I put this up as media headlines in 2024. I didn't say it was true. I just said media headlines in 2024, and it says the same thing, and then I added, here's what's wrong with all men. What's crazy about this is that it's gotten 2,800 views, and this is the point the story's about. You can see down here, there's a lot of people that say, wait, is this real? Some people taking it seriously, a lot of people taking it seriously. Lord, is this a legit headline? I thought it was the Babylon Bee. On and on and on. And it even got shared by Nina Infinity, who's a YouTuber, and over on Rumble, she follows me. And she has a channel. She's off and on, I think, with Nerdrotic and some of those other guys. And she shared it. And, of course, now they're going to probably end up community noting it. But same thing. People are falling for this stuff. And so there's kind of two takeaways, and I got a little bit more I'll talk about here, but there's kind of two important takeaways. We say, how can we fight the culture war? This is one way that I do it on a day that I wasn't planning to do a video today. I was just going to take it easy and chill. But this happened, and I said, well, this is kind of funny. I want to talk about it because it is an issue when the headlines, I put out something that I thought was so over the top that people would just have a laugh and move on with their day. And now it's being shared. And she says down below this, LOL, it's getting community noted, which means that for people that have community notes, I normally do have community notes. I can community note things, but I can't community note my own thing. But she says it's getting community noted that it's not an actual New York Post headline. WTF. You can't tell nowadays. And that's the whole point of it. is that you can't tell. A lot of people couldn't tell. It's been shared several times. Things are so crazy now, for men specifically, that you can put in our talking points into a headline, share it, and people are like, is this real? Is this not? It is hard to tell anymore. It's so over the top. I mention this because there are other headlines as well. This is another one that I found. Too many angry young men with no prospects, says top Canadian psychiatrist, leading to push to expand MAID access as means of combating growing ideological extremism. And MAID, of course, being the Canadian medical, that's medical assistance for ending yourself. Medical assistance or medical aid in dying, I guess it would be maybe. And they say these mental health specialists argue many young men prone to extremism would likely opt for MAID over engaging in acts of harm if the option was available to them. This got shared 11,000 times, and you can see this was done by Raw Egg Nationalist. I don't know if he made it or if he just shared it, but you can see down here, the article does not exist, photos edited. It was shared 11,000 times, retweeted almost 2,000 times. And again, this is about angry young guys having issues, and MAID being expanded to delete them, and it goes viral. It's because the headlines about men being crazy and bad and awful and, I don't know, misogynistic and unable to date, not worthy of this and not worthy of that. You can't tell what's real or not. And most of these places that write this stuff, it's feminists. It's feminists writing this stuff. Here's the actual real story. And they did the same thing I did probably, which is editing it. But it's all over the place. This isn't a fake headline, but this is one that kind of tells you what's going. London woman who married herself last year is bored, files for divorce. This is the kind of crazy stuff where you say, wait, is this made up or is this real? Because obviously this one's real, ironically. Another one from The Atlantic. This is a real headline. Public health officials should have been talking about their private, parties, their sex parties, the whole time. Messaging should be transparent. So this Kristen thinks that politicians and public health officials should be openly talking about and sharing their exploitations in the bedrooms because we should know about that stuff. Everything has gone just so over the top crazy, you can't tell what's real and not anymore. This is real. This is another one, a real one, where an heiress, 45 years old, hooked up with a kid, 14 years old. And did it 4 times in one day. But notice this word they say right here. It's a photo, so I can't highlight it, unfortunately. But look at this word. That's not the appropriate wording to use if you're messing around with someone that's 14. And so as we continue on here in the future, as long as publications, articles, journalists, newscasters primarily are left-leaning and women and feminists and all on board with the LGHD TV stuff, I think things are going to continue to get crazier and crazier, and I think they're going to grow in their vitriol and in their hate and in their dislike for men that won't capitulate and won't kind of bow down to the feminist dictates that they want for us. And I see this more and more happening. I don't know if you guys are seeing it as well. If you are, certainly talk about it and post down below. Or you can reach out to me on Bachelor Joker on Twitter. That's at Bachelor Joker. If you want to send me some of this content. Because I want to continue to talk about this stuff. And I think it's just going to get more and more nuts. Because women that are allowed to take over publications and writing and positions in the government and these other things over the last 10 or 15 years have been emboldened. And that's why I think you're starting to see all of this craziness, because our governments and our militaries and our news and our TV and our music industries and so many things are being driven by feelings, not facts, feel-good things, not policy. Let's help all the people with all the things, but not fiscal responsibility. That I think we're almost to the point where you can't even tell what's real or not, because everything has gone so crazy and so out of control to the point that it's probably going to make everything fall apart. Let me know what you think down below. I'd love to hear from you. Also, don't forget, I've got a $3 a month, which is $2 off a month. It's normally $5, or it's normally $50 a year, but right now you can get it for $36 a year to join betterbachelor.locals.com. Great community of like-minded guys. We got thousands of people over there having a good time. We got movie nights, we got events, and I put the paywall in because I stream movies and football games and UFC fights. So you can get that all over at betterbachelor.locals.com. All you got to do is come over and join us today. I've done a big cut on how much it normally is, but I want to build a real big community of like-minded guys where we can have a lot of fun. And all proceeds go towards the men's retreat. Yes, I am still saving for that. Yes, all of this goes towards that. I do have it separated from my own income that I make on everything else because I do want a men's retreat someday. All right, guys, we'll leave it there. I will see you in the next one.